All right, 5.5, part 2. Your turn. You are going to try to do the absolute value of n minus 8 less than or equal to 2. So we have case 1. That's where the absolute value part is positive. So we get n minus 8 is less than or equal to 2. Add 8 to both sides. You get n is less than or equal to 10. Case 2 is when the absolute value part is going to be negative. So we have the negative of n minus 8 less than or equal to 2. We multiply both sides by a negative. So we get n minus 8 greater than or equal to a negative 2. Remember, when you multiply by a negative on both sides, the inequality reverses. Add 8 to both sides, we get n is greater than or equal to a positive, I'm adding, a positive 6. All right, now our graph. Our graph, we have 6 and 10. We have a closed circle at 6, so n is greater than or equal to 6. It's going to be that way. And we have n is less than or equal to 10. We have that way. Our graph is this. Remember, I cannot go beyond what is common. I can't go out beyond here, even though that is less than 10. And I can't go out beyond here, even though that is greater than 6. Because when you go back up to the problem, if I choose a value greater than 10, say 12, 12 minus 8 is going to be 4, and the absolute value of 4 is not less than or equal to 2. So my answer is in this window right here. Okay, so that is why it is strictly that. So your answer will be n, for all values of n, such that 6 is less than or equal to n less than or equal to 10. All right, let's try another problem. Your turn still. You do this on your own after I get it written down. The absolute value of 2c minus 5 is less than a negative 3. Go ahead. All right, for those people who struggled very hard at working this problem out, remember, absolute value cannot be less than a negative 3. Your answer is empty set, no solution. Again, the absolute value of anything cannot be less than 0. So it cannot be less than a negative 3. You did a lot of extra work. Next example. 65% of young adults watched online video clips. Now, that'd probably be 100% of people in Mr. Ultimately's class. The margin of error is 3%. Okay, you need to understand what it means to be margin of error. A margin of error of 3% means we could be off by 3%. That means we could be 3% high or 3% minus low, so that is a plus or minus 3%. Now, we could set this problem up algebraically and work through it. X minus 65% less than or equal to, because my margin of error is 3%, so that means it's less than or equal to 3%, and it'd be 3%. And you could work through that problem. Or you could just open up your mind a little bit and think big picture. If 65% of the young adults watched online video clips and our margin of error is plus or minus 3%, can I just go 65% plus 3% and 65%? minus 3%, and I get a window from 62% to 68%. So that would mean the answer for all values of x such that 62% is less than or equal to x, our value, less than or equal to 68%. So because of a margin of error of 3%, our young adults watching video clips is going to be between 62% and or include also and 68%. All right, maybe I'll get this done in 2 video clips. Here is the next part. Now, remember, all of those problems that we've done so far are less than scenarios. Now we're going to look at scenarios where it is greater than. So this will be absolute value inequalities, and this is greater than. So when we're greater than, okay, this means a distance greater than the graph. Okay, it's going to be greater than. So example, absolute value of 3n plus 6 greater than or equal to 12. Because we want values that are going to be greater than 12, case 1, remember that's when it's positive, so we're going to have 3n plus 6 is greater than or equal to 12. Subtract 6 from both sides. 3n is greater than or equal to 6. Divide by 3 on both sides. It's a positive 3, so we get n is greater than or equal to 2. Second scenario, case 2, is where the absolute value is negative, or the inside of the absolute value it is negative. So the 3n plus 6 part is negative, and that's going to be greater than or equal to 12. We multiply both sides by a negative value, so we get 3n plus 6 is less than or equal to a negative 12. Remember, when you multiply both sides by a negative value, the inequality reverses. Subtract 6, 3n less than or equal to a negative 18. Divide by 3, and we have n is less than or equal to a negative 6. So those are my 2 scenarios. I always like to do the graph so I know what it looks like. Negative 6, it's a closed circle, and n is less than that. And we have at 2, it's a closed circle, and it is greater than. So we have an answer of, for all values of n, such that n is greater than or equal to 2, or n is less than or equal to a negative 6. All right, your turn. You try this problem now. Let's go to a new page. All right, absolute value of 2x plus 1 is greater than 7. Case 1, 2x plus 1 is greater than 7. Subtract 1. 2x is greater than 6. Divide by 2. X is greater than 3. Case 2, the inside the absolute value part is negative. 2x plus 1 and greater than 7. Multiply both sides by a negative. We have 2x plus 1 is less than a negative 7. Subtract 1. 2x is less than a negative 8. Divide by 2. X is less than a negative 4. So x is going to be greater than 3. Greater than 3, it's an open circle, arrow to the right. less than a negative 4. That's an open circle and a negative 4, arrow to the left. So your answer is, make sure I'm looking at the right one here. For all values x such that x is less than a negative 4 or x is greater than 3. Did I write that right? X is less than a negative 4 or x is greater than 3. Yes. All right, let's do one more problem. Will we have time? I think I can get it done in one problem in a couple minutes. All right, so last one, your turn. Absolute value, x minus 6 is greater than or equal to a negative 5. So we have case 1, x minus 6 is greater than or equal to a negative 5. Add 6 to both sides, x is greater than or equal to 1. That's case 1. Case 2. We have, remember, that when the solution inside the absolute value is negative, so that'll be x minus 6 is greater than or equal to a negative 5. When I multiply both sides by a negative, I get x minus 6 is less than or equal to 5. Add 6 to both sides. X is less than or equal to 11 when I add 6 to both sides. Now, when you look at this, because remember now all of these answers so far when it's greater than have been an or scenario. Remember, absolute value greater than some value, doesn't matter what it is, okay? When it's been greater than, we've had an or scenario. Okay, the first video with the first part, when we had absolute value less than something, in all of those cases, it was the overlapping, the intersection. We said union though, but it's the union of those two graphs, and it had to be in a window. Okay, and in those situations, we have it's not end, but it's more like an end. Okay, here in these problems we have greater than, we have an or situation. It's either going to be true in this situation or in this situation. Now, with that said, let's take a look at the graph. Let's start with x is greater than or equal to 1. Okay. Close circle, arrow to the right. In the next problem, we have, or the next part, case 2, we have 11. We have a closed circle, and we have an arrow to the left. Okay. Now, when is this scenario true? It is true when the values are less than or equal to 11. It is also true when the values are greater than or equal to 1. That means we can now include all of those values that are outside here. We can also include all of the values outside here because we have an or situation. It can be one or the other. And because it is or, for those people who took the quiz and forgot the symbol, it is R, all real numbers. All real numbers. That's mind-blowing, I understand that, but that's the situation. On this assignment, you should do all of the problems because it's a little more difficult, but again, you can just do the evens. Don't remember, we have a chapter test coming up shortly, and you need to finish your Khan Academy lessons. Good luck, and I'm just 20 seconds under 15 minutes.